Marina Del Rey site is a portion of the original Rancho La Bayona. It is an unincorporated island surrounded by the city of Los Angeles. The elevation of most of the site was below maximum high tide and also subject to inundation from surrounding city areas. The soil is largely silt and clay. The first step in construction was excavating a continuous trench for the wall, along with grading an inboard dike to protect the work from the placement of the dredge fill. Next, timber piles were driven every 4 feet. The pile drivers worked from the access road that was between the trench and the dike. 2 pile drivers were needed at times, and periodically they had to work double shifts. Another crew followed up, pouring reinforced concrete caps on the piles. A layer of crushed rock was compacted at the bottom of the trench, and then the wall footings were poured in alternate 50-foot sections. This type of pouring reduced the effect of shrinkage. The contractor fabricated sturdy steel wall forms in 50-foot sections. These could be moved and easily set up on the footing slabs. The forms had smooth metal facing on the front side and inspection ports for checking the final placement of the rebar on the rear side. After completion of the wall, the armor rock was placed down slope. After placement of the armor rock and the backfilling of the wall, the dredging contractor was allowed to dredge to the finish improvements. Pacific Dredging, the dredging contractor, used this dredge which they brought down from Seattle. It was powered by electricity and was on site for 3 years. 14 million yards of material were dredged, about half from the main channel and the rest from the interior. The Corps of Engineers was responsible for the entrance channel, and the county was responsible for the rest. Combined contracts were used for better bids. Half of the hydraulic fill was used on site. The good sand from the beach entrance was placed here on Dockweiler Beach, and the remaining 35% was sold by bids to adjacent property owners. This is an area that is currently being filled. The dredge pumps a slurry of mainly water and sand and fills an area, and the water drains off, leaving the soil behind. PCH Highway, also known as Lincoln Boulevard. This area used to be about 5 feet above the ground level of the adjacent wetlands before the marina was built. This area along the northeast boundary of the marina used to be a railroad right-of-way. As you ride along the bike path, you will note the long, narrow buildings and the low ground level. This area used to flood very frequently, even in low-level storms. With the completion of the dredging, work began on the interior improvements. It quickly became apparent that too much energy was entering the harbor. The Corps of Engineers immediately constructed a large-scale model of the harbor at their experimental facility at Vicksburg, Mississippi, which showed that an offshore breakwater was by far the best protection. Since funding would take about 2 years, funding and construction would take about 2 years, the county immediately constructed steel sheet pile bulkheads at the channel curve, restricting the opening to about 1/3 of the normal channel width. These barriers were left in place until the permanent breakwater was completed, thus allowing work to proceed on the harbor infrastructure, slips, and lease improvements. This picture shows the completed marina with the offshore breakwater. The runways of LAX may be seen just above and to the left. During the construction of the breakwater, work proceeded on the roads, water system, sewers, including a large sewage pumping station, and a complete underground network of power, phone, security, and fire communications. Also, work on the lease's slips and buildings was able to proceed. The Marina Del Rey was dedicated in April of 1965. For years, the Ballona Creek Mosquito Abatement District did battle with the dreaded Sentinel Valley mosquitoes. Parking or being outdoors after dark tended to be hazardous. With the completion of the marina and the filling of adjacent properties, the problem disappeared. The Ballona Creek Mosquito Abatement District was dissolved.